I was
Yeah,
like,
we need to have a
do that.
conversation after this then, definitely.
Oh my
That's
God,
so
did
fun.
you boof it?
No, gosh, no. But
This was recorded at the Media Joint.
That is so rogue.
Boy, that's a bit rogue.
Is it even that rogue?
I know we've all put our bodies through a lot over the years, so it'd probably be good to see what's actually going on in there. But most health checks miss the big stuff. Everlab doesn't. Everlab is something completely new, a longevity program doing head-to-toe testing and personalised health strategy. They test for what actually matters, like hormone balance and early signs of disease. You'll know exactly what's going on in your body and exactly what changes to make. Get onto it at everlab.com.au.
Welcome back to another episode of A Bit Rogue. Today in the studio I have Ella Nelson, Olympian track star, 200 metre.
yes,
Welcome to the studio. How are we?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
I'm good. Is this your first podcast?
It's my first one in a long time. I've been
Love
on a
that
few,
for me.
But
So obviously, like, I want to talk about the Olympics, but I also want to talk about like personal life, because you have gotten a larger following on social media, and you do post mum life and then throwbacks of the Olympics.
Yes.
So there's just, from an outsider point of view, I'm like, missing dots. We need to get the full story down.
love this.
So the throwbacks, you clearly miss racing.
Yes, I definitely miss racing. I mean, you can't compare the feeling of walking into a full stadium of 50 to 70,000 people standing out there ready to perform and do the thing that you've worked so hard for, whether it be for the last 4 years or your whole career or whatever it is. Like, that moment is just so exhilarating, and I definitely do miss that. Like, even when I go to watch sport now and I like
Yes.
walk into a big stadium, I get the same feeling, and then I'm like, oh, but what
not for
if?
you.
But I don't miss the training. I trained for like decades of my life, and I still have love for it, but I'm good. I did my time. I did my time.
So you chose to retire when you stopped, pretty much?
Yeah. It was, so I officially called it in January of 2021.
Yeah, so during
publicly.
COVID.
Yeah, during COVID. I was living in the States, in Phoenix, Arizona, training there for 5 or 6 years, and obviously COVID hit the world, and all of our gyms shut down. All of the tracks were tied to schools over there, so all of the schools were shut, and therefore all the tracks were shut. So we were training on grass fields and doing as much as we could, but it was really difficult. And they cancelled the Olympics. Like, initially they cancelled it. They didn't postpone it. They just said it's not happening. So during that time, I had kind of already had in my mind, like, 2020, then I'm done.
Because your last Olympics was Rio.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was kind of like 2020, and then like we'll kind of wrap up the career. We'll see how things are looking. I did have a few difficult years in the leading up to Tokyo with like weird, I want to call it a hormonal injury, basically. Like,
Yes.
my adrenal glands, you understand, as a woman, like, we just sometimes are just not in control of what can happen to our bodies. And at the time, I didn't have a lot of access to education about it. I felt like in a really dark hole. So then it came to 2020, and then COVID happened, and it just kind of felt like it was a good time to put a bow on my career and call it, and yeah, move on.
Why were you training in the States? Do you normally train?
So I grew up in the Shire and had an amazing coach from the age of 10, and he thankfully grew as a coach as I grew as an athlete, and he's still an amazing coach and has athletes to this day. We had a pretty big squad, and there was like 4 or 5 of us that represented Australia at the time.
Wow.
And he had a mentor in the States, in Phoenix, Arizona, part of this group that was called the World Athletics Center and then renamed to Altus. And hey, puppy. And so we all went over for a training camp and as like a squad, and I really enjoyed it and kind of just saw how things were over there, and I was really inspired and ended up making the move over there with my ex-boyfriend. Actually, he also moved over there to kind of give it a crack in the lead up to the 2016 season. So we moved in 2015 over to Phoenix, and it was the best decision of my life. I still have a great relationship with my original coach. But yeah, like I felt like, why wouldn't you? When you're in the States, obviously the population is so much bigger, right?
Yes.
So the sample space of athletes is so big. So they've seen everything. They've seen, like, whereas in Australia, you would often, and this is not a diss to the system here by any means, I think it's improved so much in the last decade. But, you know, you might have like a certain problem with your technique or something, and they'd be like, oh, your glute's not firing correctly. Like, we need to strengthen that. And I'm like, that doesn't necessarily like translate though, like to the track. Mm-hmm. Whereas over there, they've seen this 100 times and they would say, oh, think about bringing your heel through higher or something, and suddenly cueing something differently, just a sentence that you could think about when running, fix the issue that I'd had for 5 years.
Right. So the analysis was just a bit more advanced than...
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. They've just seen so much over there because of the amount of people that they have coming through. So they've seen all the problems and they know how to fix them a lot quicker. Very
cool. Well, you just mentioned your ex... They were an athlete as well?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
In track?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that
Don't recommend doing that.
Yeah, was that distracting or anything?
We all know about the term don't shit where you eat. And I think that applies to many different areas, whether it be a friend group, a workplace, or a training group. And it's very common to date within your sport because... You see each other all the time.
It's your whole life.
It becomes your whole life. You can relate everything. I'd known him since I was like young, and we were together for 4 years.
It was a long time.
It was a long time, yeah. And he was great.
Were you guys the same age?
No, he was like 3 years older than me.
Okay.
So a bit older. But yeah, you can relate. So we both went to the Commonwealth Games together, which was nice. And like he could relate and support and understand, and vice versa. I could for him as well. But we split after a year of being in America. He came back to Australia and I said, I'm going to stay.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, but it's fine. He's doing great. Has
love that for him.
3 kids, married, house, like things are great.
Isn't it so funny? Like we're at an age now where like when you've dated people and they're like married with kids, you're like, oh, that's cool. Love that for them.
I'm so happy, genuinely, for him. Like we split when I was 22. Like there's no yeah, like it's fine. We've moved on.
Yeah.
I've lived a lot of life since then.
Literally, I saw this thing the other day and it was like the guy that you randomly added on Snapchat or randomly had on Instagram. And even I did an episode with Keisha and her Rogue story was with a guy that she like met on a plane, and she was like, I still have him on Instagram and he's like married with kids now. It's just so funny where like that weird era where like we still have people from our past there, and that everyone's getting on with it.
It's like we have doom scrolling, but then there's also like doom scrolling and seeing like ghosts of boyfriends pass with their babies and fiancés and all of that stuff. But I'm very happy with my current partner, so it's not as jarring as it could be.
So you obviously you didn't stop with COVID. So you stayed in Arizona.
Yep.
Then where did you retire? You retired whilst you were in Arizona?
So yeah, was in Arizona. Things were shut down, and I had met a man on Raya. And
love that. That's a slay.
I am a full Raya advocate. I am a huge fan. And my birthday was coming up and I'd been in lockdown in Arizona. It's 40 degrees every day. It's also, at the time, it was definitely red state vibes, and it just wasn't the nicest environment to be in because we couldn't train and everyone's attitudes were a bit like aggressive when it came to COVID. So, and I'd met this man in LA. And he said, you should come out for your birthday. And I was like, you're so right. I should go to the beach and enjoy. So I got in my VW Tiguan by myself and skirt, because also in America, there was no like boundaries outside of the initial stay in your house law. You could travel between states. So I skirted across the desert by myself with a great playlist.
How long did that take you?
Normal time it's like about 6.5, but in COVID it was 5, a clean 5.
Nice. That's not that bad.
It was fine, and I had the best time. And that's when so I went there and met my partner and like officially in person, and we just had the most amazing birthday weekend, and he nailed it. And now
So
we have a
wait,
daughter.
is he?
That's my guy.
Oh, so
Yeah.
is your baby your birthday present?
No. Well, no. She is born near my birthday, so in some way, but no, she came 3 years into the relationship.
cool.
So she's not.
So if you met Raya,
Yeah.
is he a celebrity, or is he like a billionaire? Is he a millionaire? Like, what's the go?
Okay.
What's the tea? What does he do?
He's a music producer, engineer, worked with a lot of my favorite artists, probably a few of your favorite artists. He's not super in the public eye by choice.
Not all of them are.
No, head down, very humble, very hardworking, and very successful. So I'm stoked for him. So he's in LA in music, and it's so fun because I get to see all the behind the scenes and hear about everything as it comes out. So
Yes.
yeah, really cool.
How often do you get to see each other then?
I was living in LA for a few years, so obviously we're together all the time, and then fell pregnant, moved back to Sydney. Sorry, I've done a lot of moving. I feel like everyone's trying to like see the globe right now and is like, where is she at any given moment? Came back to Sydney to have her because of family and
Your parents here?
healthcare. Yes,
Yeah, needed.
Everyone's here, so came back, and he comes out as much as he can. Thankfully, he doesn't have a typical like 9 to 5, you get 2 weeks off per year kind of thing. Being in the entertainment industry and working in music, he's a bit more flexible. So he was coming out every few months for a couple of weeks at a time. And yeah, he just spent all of January here, which was fun. And now we're going to be here for a little bit. Then I'm going to go over there and yeah, be together more frequently.
Do you talk about settling down, like where you're gonna stay?
Yeah, definitely. I think until she's at school, we're going to float between the two and do as much world as we can.
Yeah.
He loves it here. I love it here. I love it there. His family's in Texas as well. So I'm sure until we need to be in one spot, we have the ability to be able to do it. So go a little bit of the unconventional route, but travel between all of them and get the most out of everything. Chase summer.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
But how do you parent, like coming from a single parent, how do you parent on your own knowing that your partner is prioritizing their career somewhere else? Like, do you ever feel resentment at all, or?
No, I mean, definitely not resentment. It's hard.
It would be really
solo
hard.
parenting is difficult, whether it be for a week while your partner's away or a month or however long the period is, or just in general.
Can I just say, as a single mum, I actually think it is easier. No,
we
it
do
is
amazing.
but it's easier to do it for a long period of time knowing it's just me than I think it is for mums that partners end up having to go away for 2 weeks or ends up having to go away for 3 weeks, because it's a huge shock to the system.
Definitely.
So, like, in my eyes, you're a solo parent because you are doing it on your own.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's hard, but I have the emotional support whenever I need it and the advice, and he is our rock, and we are on FaceTime when we're apart like 4 times a day, and my daughter's always like, call dada. So you know, we just have a really amazing bond between the three of us, and we know the mission. Like, he knows he's got to be there, he's got to provide right now. I know my focus is these first 2 years with Violet and locking in. Like, we know the mission, we know the end goal is to all be together very soon. So although it was hard, we knew that it was temporary and we all had to make the most of the time. So he was grinding and I was grinding with her, and but I definitely having one less person to do the dishes for in some ways makes it a little bit
It is.
easier.
I personally think it is. Like, as a mum, you're a default parent and you're the default everything at home, you know? So I think it is, when you've got your own routine and it's just the two of you, like, you know, sometimes it is a bit easier.
It can be smooth. It can be smooth. There are days where I'm like, oh my God, I wish he was here so I could go
Just
do
do
my
something.
nails
Yes,
or whatever.
I get that. Yeah.
But in general, like I think we've done an amazing job, and I'm so proud of us and
Yeah.
her and
I love
everything.
that.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Everyone's family dynamic's different, and if it works for you, it works for you.
It's hard to like explain the situation to people because people are like, why would you do that? And I'm like, I
mean,
honestly don't know. But
you're not Brie Tessie being asked about Nick Cannon and having to explain
that's so true.
her 21 step kids or whatever it is. Is it
12?
step maybe? Yeah, it's 12. I was being dramatic. But I don't think it's that. It's like, I get it when you're an Australian living in another country because here we do have the best health access to healthcare. And like
I feel safe
access
here.
to schooling as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're a safe country.
Yeah.
So I get it. Just wish the other countries got it too.
Yeah, necessary sacrifice.
Would you get back into athletics at all?
No, I'm
She's
good.
done.
Yeah, in other ways, definitely. I love the sport. I want to be involved in the sport.
Yeah.
I recently got to go to the Sydney Track Classic and do some commentating,
I saw
which was
that.
so fun.
Yeah.
And I've always been a fan of my sport as well. So I absolutely want to still be involved. I don't think I'm a coach. I've never had that urge to coach.
Because you'd still have to show up as much as you do when you're normally training.
Yeah, less physical expenditure, but definitely not on the time side.
I think being a coach would be really hard.
It is really hard as a parent. I've seen a lot of parent coaches make incredible sacrifices for their careers and for their athletes and for their children.
Yeah, your athletes are pretty much your kids, regardless of age.
Yeah, absolutely. You have an amazing relationship with them. It becomes like family when you've been with them for a long time. But yeah, so coaching, probably not my forte, but I do want to be around. I'm not going to be on the track in my little uniform anymore though, unfortunately. If it was easy, I would, but it's not easy. So
I have a little bit of a dirty question.
Okay,
it's not actually dirty, but there's always whispers in the Olympics, right?
Yes.
Every single industry has their own scandals and hush money's involved, but sometimes the whispers do get out, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
It does sound like you had a pretty good relationship with your OG coach and it's a smaller community in Australia. But is there any athletics tea that you can share? Not necessarily, maybe we could be talking about some shop or tea, but I'm talking like do you have any weird coaches out there? Are there any weird physios in the athletics world, or you don't really see it in athletics?
You do, unfortunately, on a global scale. There's been more bravery lately coming out with people reporting inappropriate behavior from their coaches or inappropriate relations with other athletes in a group. I know of some in Australia, I know of some in the United States, and it is great that it's reported. Yeah. There definitely are the dark side of the sport, in the same way that we heard about the terrible treatment of the USA gymnast girls and their physical therapists. But yeah, there definitely are cases of that around, which is really sad.
So crazy. It's every single sport. Like every single person that has come in here that's a female athlete has had experience like of witnessing or like knows.
It's so sad. And even I reflect on like my young years being like 16, 17, 18 and getting weird comments from coaches or, you know, people in the sport and kind of like brushing it off because back then like it wasn't as spoken about or educated. We weren't educated on it as much as we are now. But it's also
your whole life circle, social and like family is within your sport. So it makes you feel like it's normal. Like I've already spoken about this on an episode, I think it was with Brittany O'Brien, but like,
I love Brittany.
She's a baddie.
Yeah.
When you are younger and you have the coaches and they say weird stuff, you're kind of just like, whatever, like that's my bestie, that's my person, you know? So you don't feel like even realize
you have this level of trust. Yes. And then when you get older and you like kind of reflect and you're like, oh, maybe that comment from that person wasn't okay.
No.
I thankfully didn't have any personal experiences with that, but I had people close to me who did, and it's really fucking sad.
It's sad. It's fucking weird.
And scary.
It is scary.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Do you have a rogue moment that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I think so.
Hit us, John.
At the end of 2019, we were in the off season, and this is a little, I don't know if it's cause and effect or butterfly effect, but I've seen this trending.
Wait, the first one, what did you say?
Cause and effect?
Yeah, what's a cause and it?
Like just something happens and then something else
Oh,
happens.
right. No, I've heard. Okay, I keep seeing the butterfly effect.
Yeah,
trend
so
on
the
TikTok.
butterfly
Yeah.
effect trending on TikTok, and that's what kind of made me think of this, because I was like, what's like a really weird situation that I've been in that has ended up in something insane. So me and my best friend, she's a model, and she had a job shooting for Neutrogena in New York, and I was living in Phoenix. And I was like, I'm gonna fly out and we can hang out for the weekend, because why wouldn't you? So we fly to New York. We have an amazing few days, and on one of the particular days, it's also November, so it's brick cold over there. Like, it's freezing, and we were on foot. We decided we're going to explore the city on foot in this freezing cold weather. Jackets, beanies, gloves, like dying. And there's only one real way that you can get around doing that, and that's by having an added alcohol blanket layer.
Of course.
So we started off at a ramen spot, had some drinks, went to another spot, ended up at a rooftop bar, walked and saw the MSG from the outside. There was another bar there that we went to, and then we met up with some friends and had a dinner and a night out. And like at this point, it had been a long day. The dinner was huge as well, and we ended up at a club, none of which I remember. But the next day, we're like, actually, no. So at the end of the night, I do remember this. We really wanted to go to Prince Street Pizza. Have you heard of that? It's like super famous. If you go to New York,
right now,
everyone has to go to Prince Street Pizza. It's absolutely incredible, super famous, really amazing. So we are like, okay, we've been waiting all day for this late night pizza. We get in the taxi to Prince Street Pizza, and we get dropped off, and we walk a little bit, and we realize it's shut. This thing was supposed to be open until
really
4
sad.
a.m. and it was shut. And we're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And we're devastated. We're freezing. And this car pulls up next to us. And it was like 2 young girls and a guy. And they were like, oh no, it's shut. And we were like, we know, we're devastated. They're like, do you want to come get pizza with us? Hop in. And we were like, yes. Don't do as I did. Do as I say. Don't get in strangers' cars in New York at 4 a.m. But we hop in their car and we're driving around. We're listening to music. We're having the most amazing time. Pull up to this other pizza spot. It was like one of those $1 pizza joints.
Nice.
Amazing. Had the best time. And yeah, it was just great. And then the butterfly effect story of it is basically the next day I'm like going through my Instagram, like, who did we meet last night? And we met this man who had worked for this large hospitality company in the States. And we had a really good conversation because I'm interested in entertainment and hospitality and everything. So we had a really good conversation, became friends. And he invited me and my roommate a few weeks later to All-Star for the basketball in Chicago. He said, yeah, we'll like have you as a part of the company, like super chill, come out. And we were like, absolutely. So we got to like vlog a little bit and it was great. So by going on this bar crawl through New York basically led to me and my roommate going to NBA All-Star, partying for the whole weekend, getting to see the dunk contest. And we were like in a booth with like FaZe Clan and like Ben Simmons, and
My son is literally named after FaZe Clan.
really, that's so funny.
Well, I met Banks at a party in LA, and I was
Banks.
like, "You can't."
That's so funny.
You can't. That can't be your real name.
Okay.
So Wikipedia, it's not.
We
and
need
I was
to
like,
we need to have a
do that.
conversation after this. Then definitely.
Oh my
That's
god!
so
Did
fun.
you boof him?
No, gosh, no. But there's obviously some common connections here. Not that though. But yeah, and so one thing can always lead to another, and yeah, say yes to
Yes, I agree.
the night out.
Every time I have a big night out, I meet someone that then becomes a valuable person in my network.
Definitely.
Not even kidding.
Yeah, it's your network, not your network.
I haven't drunk in almost 3 months, and I can tell you my network has not really grown that much.
No, but hopefully you built it, so you had the foundation
Yeah, I did.
that was
I'm probably
enough.
using it as an excuse to enter back into my
Yeah.
normal habitat.
Definitely.
Okay, so everyone gets a game.
Okay. I love games.
I was in the car this morning and Rack City Bitch came on, and I was like, okay, we're going to call it Track City Bitch.
Love this.
Yes,
Fun.
because LA living. So because that we both spent time in LA, I thought you can debunk some of my statements.
Okay.
It's either track or whack. Whack is I'm lying. Track is I'm on track.
Yeah.
I'm being for real.
Oh, this is genius. I love this.
Yeah, love my little car thoughts. Okay, so the first one I had was you have to show your Instagram following to get into particular parties you are a +1 to.
Whack. from my personal experience, but track, I think I've heard of this being a thing.
It was actually, it never happened to me, but I know that there was like the year I went to Coachella, there was a particular, like, it wasn't Neon Carnival, it was another like pre-party, and if you were like a +1 of someone, you had to show your Instagram on
I believe it. Track, not from my personal experience.
Yeah, well, before I moved to LA, people were like, buy followers, and I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, it's a currency there.
100%.
Don't know about now, like I haven't been in years, but anyway. I got chased by a mountain lion at Runyon one evening.
Evening? Track. That tracks for sure. Mountain lion?
It actually didn't happen, but
but it could.
It could happen.
Definitely. I get like the alerts and stuff, like if you're in like the Facebook group of your neighborhood, they're like, there's a mountain lion around. So I believe that.
Yeah, one time I actually did think that I had seen one, and it was like a giant skunk.
Yeah.
And I shat myself.
A skunk.
It was huge. It was going through the rubbish bins, and I was like, oh my God, this is my moment. And I couldn't get the damn key in the door.
Yeah.
Anyway, I watched Demi Lovato and French Montana hook up.
Track.
Yeah.
Random combo, but I
Super weird
it.
combo.
Yeah.
It did. She was very aggressive.
Yeah. Interesting. Where was that?
At his house.
Yeah. That makes sense.
He was having a party and like they were hooking up, and I was like, fuck, I want to say something. Like, I loved Camp Rock.
You're like, sorry to interrupt, but.
No, literally. I remember like trying to be nice and being like, I loved Camp Rock. At the time she did like some cover photo for, I'm going to say it was like Body Image.
Okay.
And I said to her, I was like, I love that you're doing that in Australia. Like, it's really prevalent. And she was just like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And I was like, okay.
Never mind.
I'll be on my way. And then I was standing in line for the toilet, and she pushed in front of me, and I was like, I'm just going to let this girl go because she's scaring me.
Yeah,
and then by the end of the night, her and French were hooking up, and I didn't realize they were doing it right next to me.
They weren't like loud hooking up.
No, I'm talking like outside of the pool area on the pool beds.
Yeah.
And she was so nice to me then, because I was like, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to be out here. Anyway, so yeah, track. I would often get offers to be flown to Vegas in a PJ.
Oh, track.
It's like a weird, like, it's like instead of asking a girl out on a date, it's like, I'm hopping on the plane on Friday. You want to
come with? Yeah. No, definitely. There's, the dating culture and everything in America, and especially LA, Vegas, New York, all of those is very
It's next
different.
level.
Yeah.
I think I need to go there as a little refresher.
I think you should.
Yeah.
I'll be there soon. Come visit.
No, I need
LA
to.
summer.
I'm so due. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't been since the end of 2018.
Me and my man, we can wing woman you.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
That'll be fun.
Honestly, like, you don't even realize when you get so used to it, you're like, whatever. Because the person, that last person that said like, oh, we've got residency, you know, we fly out every Friday. I was like, why the fuck would I want to do that? And now I'm like, why
wouldn't you do that?
Wouldn't I want to do that? What a little rat bag.
For the plot. Next time.
Well, thank you so much for coming into the studio, coming on a bit rogue.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm very intrigued by your long distance parenting situation, and I'll probably pick your brain more on it now that I know that you're technically a solo parent.
Yeah, I do solo parenting.
Yeah.
For now, temporarily.
But
yeah,
and
we got to stick together.
Yes.
Play dates.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And I will take you up on the LA after, because I
Come
would
have
like
some
to go
fun.
soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Amazing.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for coming.
Thanks for listening to A Bit Rogue, where we uncover the stories of athletes, artists, and celebrities with their most rogue moments. Episodes dropping every Wednesday.